Thank you. I think that everybody heard you. I want you to sit here, please, and hear the people that they heard you. That's weird to say that. And I'm sorry we don't have time for question and answer. We're right on time. I wanted to close this session because we're going to have prayers by our distinguished panelists. And after that, we're going to have dinner together. But we have some very special people for our center, in my life, that I want to introduce them to have a few words, and then we go to prayer session, and then we have dinner. So we'll start with the first person who was here, Honorable Sheriff Lee Baca.
Well, thank you very much. It's a delight for me to be here with all of you. Salam Alaikum. And God be with you all. I really appreciate this panel. They did an outstanding job today in putting forth some extraordinary wisdom for all of us to consider. I'll be brief. I think the outrage that the Islamic community has is justified because, unfortunately, it's the lack of recognition of goodness. And in my opinion, the failure to acknowledge goodness is the giving of power to evil. And I think that it's no surprise to me. I mean, it should be of no surprise to all of you, because you're men of faith, that human beings are acting this way. It's no surprise to me that human beings commit crime. And the distance between crime and evil is rather short and small. And the whole purpose of summing up all the faiths is that they're to help us stay away from evil, to help us live a life of virtue, to have some sense of thoughtfulness, to not live in the subjectivity of suspicion, hate, bigotry, and all kinds of anti-Semitic behavior. Christians and Muslims and Jews all have this common bond, if we're to believe the Bible and all the things that led to even the Quran. What's amazing in the Quran is Mary, the mother of Jesus, is spoken of in such elegant ways. And yet Christians don't even know that it's in the Quran. And the whole thing about why people act so disrespectful towards other people is the big question that Jesus was trying to struggle with himself. And you cannot be a Christian and be insensitive to other people. I'm a weak Catholic. I don't mean to say that.
It's all right. I'll talk to you afterwards.
I'm getting a little stronger. Married a Quaker woman, lovely lady, first wife, mother of my 2 children. She became a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and my 2 kids became members of the Church of Latter-day Saints. I'm okay with that. As a Catholic, I guess the only reason I can say this is that I wasn't strong enough in the faith. But the reality is that I'm strong to God. And Muslim gentleman who's part of the Muslim Bankers Association, you know, it's amazing how many Christians don't even understand there's a Muslim Bankers Association. Now, why would there even be a Muslim Bankers Association? Well, to do the right thing with being bankers. And at the same time, we know that there's a lot of Christian bankers that do a very good job with all the problems that we have with the economy. I can assure you in the United States that we have more Christian bankers than we do Muslim bankers. But it's interesting that all the Christian bankers that I know are great people and they're good, and I'm not trying to divide here. But the Muslim banker said to me, Sheriff, I know you really admire all the faiths, and I do. That doesn't mean I admire all people. You know, there are certain people that need to get a little more sensitivity in their life about admiring others themselves, and those that admire people will be admired. But if you don't admire people, why should we admire you? But the Muslim banker said, just remember one thing, Sheriff. All religions meet at the top. And I've said this to you before, I mean, God does not speak one form of language. He's not talking about English, he's not none of us have ever met God. But I can assure you, God has met us. And what kind of Christian or Muslim or Jew do you want God to meet? That's the task. And I say to you, all that God does is create life. And the man who creates evil has no God to pray to. Man cannot drag God into evil, and man is not perfect. Education is what's lacking in those who don't understand another faith. That's our task, is to understand Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism. Now, my second marriage, I married to a Buddhist by an Armenian archbishop, and I'm still a weak Catholic. So the whole point is this: I don't want to fail in anything that I do. But if being strong in a faith makes you insensitive to all other faiths, you have lost the purpose of your faith. And I thank you for listening to me.
Sheriff Baca, it's an honor and pleasure to have you as a friend of the center, and I appreciate your presence here. Sorry. Yeah, I think so. You know. But he can be the bishop of all the religion because he knows everything. The second special guest we have here is another friend of the I.M.A.N Center, a true dedicated person to the community, Congresswoman Maxine.
Good evening. To Dr. Namazikhah, the officers and members of the Iranian-American Muslim Association of North America, to all of the very articulate and wonderful panelists that you have here today. I'm delighted to be here with you this evening, and I thank you for inviting me to your 2010 Festival of Interfaith Unity. Your leadership in providing for this interfaith discussion is important and commendable. It is these kinds of efforts that will surely have to bring about tolerance, better understanding, and appreciation of the many faiths and religions that populate the world. It is through dialogue and discussion that we move forward to live in this world in peace. At this, the end of the fast for Ramadan, I wish you much success, peace, and happiness. I have great respect for the Muslim religion, and I pray that we can all collectively end the fear and suspicion that we are experiencing, driven by those who are ignorant. And I want you to know that I truly believe that this ignorance is creating a necessary division and discord. So for those of us who truly care about peace and unity, we must do everything that we can to oppose these fearmongers, and I certainly pledge my continuing commitment to do my part to confront these issues. But I want you to know, as I sat here today, this evening, for the short period of time that I've been here, I certainly learned a lot about interfaith marriage. And I appreciate the discussion that you had. You taught us so much that most of us had never even thought about. But I also want you to know that I feel challenged in a very special way. Salam is so brilliant, articulate, and bright, and he laid it right on the line. He did not mince his words at all. And he presented those of us who have any kind of a platform with a special challenge. Now, there are those, many in my community, who would not think very much about me trying to provide religious leadership. But I am a public policy maker, and I do have lots of friends and connections throughout this country. And I thought, what could I do that would be especially significant and important at this moment when there are those who are talking about burning the Quran? That is so shameful that Salam is correct. We've got to do something in whatever area of life we find ourselves working in. So I thought about my friends in public policy, and I'm certainly going to try and organize something. But I also thought about the great religious leaders in the African American community. I thought about T.D. Jakes in Dallas, Texas, my very, very dear friend, Bishop Noel Jones, right here in Los Angeles, Reverend Calvin Butts up in New York, Bishop Ulmer, that's here in the Inglewood area, Bishop Blake in the Crenshaw area, and I'm going to get on the telephone, and I'm going to call, and I'm going to first ask our religious leaders to come together in a national statement in opposition to the burning of the Quran, and to speak out. The members of the Congressional Black Caucus. We have several ministers that are members of the Congressional Black Caucus. And since I'm known for stepping out and creating a little trouble and controversy, why should I stop now? This is extremely important, and I will be on my job starting tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.